Okay. Hi, welcome back to the video series on field inspections. My name is Steve Bayok. I am the creator of the series. This series of training videos is being used in conjunction with the guide that I put together. And what I wanted to do today is I just finished up a little inspection here at this property. Real simple inspection. All it really was just an occupancy inspection. I thought I'd take a couple of minutes to talk about some of the key issues concerning field inspections for those of you that have never done one or ever heard of it. I thought I'd give you a little idea about what some of the things that we need to look for and do on a field inspection. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of the tools that we use here. This is a measuring wheel. All right, measuring wheels come in two sizes. This is a large wheeled one, and there's a small wheeled one. Small wheeled ones are really used for interior work. The big one, like this one, is good because even though we have a sidewalks here, in a lot of cases, we don't have sidewalks. If we're going around people's property, it's a little tough to go on lawns with a little dinky wheel. So I would suggest that when you get into this business, go ahead and buy one of these. I bought it at Home Depot. It probably cost me $25 or $35, somewhere in that area. The other thing we'll need is a clipboard, like I talked about before. You need to get a 25-foot measuring tape. And then the most important thing you're going to need is a decent camera. It doesn't have to be a real expensive camera, but a decent camera. Something that's probably 3 to 5, maybe more megapixel. A camera like this is going to probably run you somewhere between $85 to $150. Again, I went to Office Depot and bought it. It works real good. I like it because I can take a lot of pictures with it. And that leads into another topic of discussion. Because when we get into field inspections, we're basically doing a couple things. Mostly we're documenting through photographs and small reports what we see in a property. We're doing inspections for insurance companies, we're doing inspections for banks, lenders, so on and so forth. The first order of business, normally when I come to a site, is I have to document it, and I use my camera right away for that. And I always go to the front of the property and take a picture. I've talked about this before on other videos, and the point I'm getting at is that it's important that when you're out doing 10 or 15 inspections in a day, or maybe over 2 days, depending on the type of inspections they are, you want to make sure that when you're shooting pictures and you're maybe taking 5 or 6 pictures, that you don't get those pictures all mixed up on your camera. And when you want to get to your office, you want to make sure that you take it from your camera and put them into your computer and then send them to the field inspection company. Well, the best way of doing that is I always start with the front of the building. I take a picture of the front of the building, and then every picture I take after that kind of is in a sequence. And I take 5 or 6 pictures. I stop. The next inspection I go to, I always start with the front of the building. Therefore, I know where I'm starting and I'm stopping, so when I get back to my office after 2 days, maybe I don't get to those inspections right away and I can't remember, it's better that I have some kind of a sequencing or a log that I can use. So that's kind of pretty important because otherwise you're going to get yourself bogged down when you get back to the office and you get a little frustrated. Let's talk about measuring a building because that's another thing we're going to be doing a lot of. These are really easy to do. What I usually do is just kind of shoot. I start with kind of eyeballing the edge of the building, and I just walk up, and I'll just do this a little bit. But that's normally all we're doing, and I'll take it to the entire length of the building. I'll take it to the width of the building. But you also have to keep in mind is that all buildings aren't just squares. So when you're doing a diagram, because that's what's going to be requested from your field inspection company, they're going to ask you to take this diagram that you're making here in the field and then transpose it, if you will, onto a form that they're going to send you. So I always just use a yellow pad of paper and use a simple sketch. I put on the very beginning what the front of the building is, the rear of the building, and if I kind of know which direction is north or south, it helps me a little bit too. So in this particular case, I measured this building and it's 50 by 72 feet. I already know that. So what I would do is I would basically say 50 feet by 72 feet, and on the back of this building, it kind of goes in and out a little bit. Not all buildings are just, like I said, are squares. So when you do a field inspection, you want to make sure that your measurements are as close as possible. They don't have to be 100% dead on, but close enough so that when you get the inspection done, the inspection company that you send it to has a real good reference of what it is that they have to work with. So in that, you have to realize that when you're doing a field inspection, you're doing, as I said, you're documenting, and the person that gets this information that's received by the field inspection company, they're going to review it to see if there's anything missing, and then they're going to take your information and they're going to forward it on to probably the insurance company or the bank that's requested it, because those are normally the two people that are doing it. If it's an insurance company, you're going to be dealing with what's probably an underwriter. He or she's going to be the person that's going to determine what the risk is involved here is. So what I'm getting at is you try to give them the best pictures possible. That's going to help them. And that's going to make your job a little bit easier, and it's probably going to bring you more business, because if you're seen as a field inspector does quality work, then that company that's giving you the field inspections will continue to provide them to you. And that's very important, because this business is about getting field inspections sent to you. And that's the topic we're going to talk about in a different video a little later on today. So the other thing we have to take a look at is the most important thing after the photos, obviously, and measuring, is we want to use our eyes and we want to look at the building. Use common sense here, because the inspection report that we're going to get from the company is going to break out the exterior of the building and maybe the interior of the building. Not all reports will be a page or too long. Some of them might only be 7 or 10 questions. Very simple questions of asking simple things like, how are the downspouts in the gutters? Is the roof in good shape? And these are visual observations that you're going to make, and it's a judgment call on your part. But if you see that there's something wrong, let's say that there's 2 gutters that are hanging from the building, you want to document that with a picture. Because we're talking about, again, a hazard or a liability, something that the insurance company wants to know about, or the bank, the lender. So we want to use our eyes walking around a property. We want to pay attention to things like the porch, the landings when somebody goes in the door, could be the front stairs, the treads, are the railings tight, issues like that, because that's what the field inspection is going to be kind of asking you to do. And when you get them sent to you, don't get in a big panic, because it's going to come with all different types of names on them. The bottom line is we're dealing with inspections that might just request photo-only inspections, or it could be a drive-by inspection with a short report attached to it. All right, there's different terms that different field inspection companies use, but basically it's the same thing. You're taking pictures, you're doing a little document, and that's about all it recalls on that type of an inspection. The next type of inspection will probably be something like a residential inspection, or maybe an insurance company inspection, or a property inspection. Again, the field inspection company might just roll that all into 1 or 2 different types of different names, but they're basically all the same thing. So don't get in a panic when you get those reports in initially. What you want to do is take a look at it. If you have questions, contact the field inspection company that sent it to you. They're trained to work with you out in the field to make sure that you understand what the report's calling for, and to make sure that you can do the proper job for them, because you're going to work hand in hand. So this is just a short little video on those couple of little items. We're going to talk about another couple of things in the next video, so stay tuned and watch for the next video. Thank you much.